Hello, my name is Timmy. Oh shit, I forgot to turn the music off. My name's Tammy Wilson. I am from the Tan Gentleman group. And this is Tammy Talks About Movies. Good night. Cool. How's everybody doing? Wow, okay. El Duderino Willard says View to a Kill is one of the best Bond songs. That was like 3 seconds of that song, and you knew what it was. Good job. I was putting together... I had a list last week for the intro. I played movie rap songs, like the rap songs that play in end credits and describe a movie, which is always great. The first time, like a month ago, I played just movies. They're songs that are about movies, and that one was... I only played one song, but it was... songs for movies. That was Endless Love, which you could say it's from Endless Love, but we all know what it's really from. And then it was A View to a Kill, and then I had 9 to 5 on there. I was going to do some more. So, anyways, hello everybody. So I asked. Somebody said something about Watertown's. You have to stop on the Interstate West. Like, we don't run west, so. I wonder if you've ever been here. Yeah, I think you're lying. Because why would you call another street an interstate? That's like completely different. But LOL to you for lying about being here. Anyway, so this is Timmy Talks About Movies. Obviously, I'm going to be sassy. And, they just want to be included. You're going to be included without making shit up. But so, and that's what I'm going to do. I try and come up with some topics. And talk about... See, Carl, I don't think you've been here. We have more than one road that goes all the way through it. But you must be thinking of Highway 212, which is not an interstate. So if you were driving on the other side, that was another lane. That was the other part of the... That was the other side of the highway, so I hope you didn't get in an accident. Or do I? Anyways, I just talk about movies and have some things... to talk, topics, I guess, and we just kind of roll with it. I'm not saying you had to say the right road label. I hate the backpedaling, sarcastic, wounded man baby apology. Just say I meant a regular street or a highway at least. I mean, the interstate's totally different. Anyways, this guy drives. So polar vortex, who's in the polar vortex? I don't want to spend the whole time dealing with one person who then sends me a link to their shitty Donald Trump symphony. So anyways, who's getting a polar vortex? Squirrel723 says Watertown only has one road. How could you get confused? Squirrel723 only has one joke. How could you get confused? All right. Yeah, Wonko came here. His wife drove him here, and then he gave me a giant ham, and he left. That is a true story. So, listen, and you guys, some of you may have heard me getting on the Brown Brothers for making fun of Watertown or whatever. It's not that I don't make fun of Watertown. The one joke, no one lives here. Clearly, it's not true. I bought this shirt here, so I live here, and the person that sold me this shirt lives here. I also have a child who's not old enough to work in a store, even though South Dakota probably let her anyways because they hate rules, because rules are against freedom. So there are at least three people here. I'm not saying Watertown's fun. Why would I say Watertown's fun? But Wonko's right. We do have good food and good beer, and they have me and sidecar driver, so, the thing is there are worse places, and people don't want to admit that, because a lot of you that make fun of South Dakota when we bring it up live in a worse place. I know what's going on in the country, okay? I know some of you live in Florida or Texas, all right? So just fucking, get over it. But no, so part of it is like, okay, we get it. No one lives here, haha. The other thing is like, if I ever seem like I'm defending the town, I'm actually trying to put out more information so that we can make our jokes better about it. You know what I mean? Because it is worth ridicule, especially now that we're in the legislative session. I'm going to get real anti-South Dakota, because that's when they bring up all their bullshit fucking, the legislature. And locally, our city just spent $300 large on buying the cops like a tank. We have 20,000 people. Anyways, so this is Timmy Talks About Movies and also yells at people, which is... Here's the thing. So I started Timmy Talks About Movies because every other kind of stream I do, they talk about movies. However, I could just do one called Timmy Yells at People, because every one I do, including the one I do because I do it anyways, also has that. So it's like an onion of me being annoying. Sumo Dumo militarize it. Yeah, isn't that fucking crazy? Timmy Talks About Watertown's new tank. I suppose that could be a good show. Hey guys, I saw the tank today. It's not a tank, it's like an armored jeepy thing, but I mean, if you saw it, it's like, okay, why the fuck do we need that? You know what I mean? Like, we don't need it. It's like, and then of course, I don't get the people who they're almost always right wing and like Republican, which means they think there should be, traditionally Republican, at least modern Republicanism pre Bush and Trump, okay, would be smaller government, less spending, that kind of stuff. And so now people who are like supposedly on that side of things are also like, thank God the cops spot a $300 car or $300,000 car. It'd be awesome if the police had to drive like 1985 Chevy Celebrities, like a $300 car. Fucking make them do that. Why not? But anyway, so you like see like a news article about it on Facebook or something. People are like, well, we really need it. So they need it. It's like, they need it to protect themselves from what? Like, from what? You know what I mean? Like, most of the criminals are if you've I know we've been streaming very spottily lately, but if you have caught up with self-sucks and stuff, I've been talking about how the last year here in my town and in South Dakota in general, they've been catching tons of pedophiles and child molesters, which is great that they're catching them, but it's also like, holy shit, there's a lot of pedophiles and child molesters here. So, but I don't see, like, yeah, go take down all the pedophiles and kitty porn people and molesters. Yeah, get them in jail. That's where they need to be, away from us, right? But do you need a tank to fucking look at a hard drive? You know what I mean? More in Hollywood? Well, let's just say it's more than the amount that you spend. It's a higher amount of people than the amount of time that you spend reading the news. If you say, oh, Hollywood, there's pedos everywhere. Because people who say Hollywood's full of pedos are repeating stuff told to them by people from Washington. Yeah, because none of those people fuck kids. Anyways, I mean, that shit is everywhere. And so it is nice to be in a place where they seem to be fucking catching them, What movie is he talking about? I haven't gotten there yet. Sorry, I'm just kind of waking up here. H22G Tech says they should also lock up the victims because they're prone to become predators. I mean, I don't know the science on that. It would, if that statistic is true, it makes sense. But I guess, yeah, lock them up. Anyways. So movies. Okay, but no, don't worry. I don't want people that just jumped in to hear me talking about pedophiles and molesters and kitty porn and then say, let's talk about movies. We're not talking about those movies. That was a different discussion. I'm against those things. I was talking about how I'm glad they have been getting arrested more often lately, at least in my state. So, maybe we can fund therapy for the victims. See, principal roles does not have their head up their ass. Good job. I agree with you. Did I see the holdovers? No. If you're here to ask me if I've seen X movie, if the movie's new, probably not. We'll just throw that out there right now. What's my favorite Harry Potter movie? Is there one where a bunch of trans women get to just beat J.K. Rowling with a sack of doorknobs? Go down and talk about Hard Candy or Lolita. Those are movies. God damn it. Okay, well, one thing I thought, excited for Minecraft movie? No. So, yeah, and Nicole be like the cheese, that's a good point. They say, I wish the movies are still good, though. You know what? And that's a great point. And Daniel Radcliffe, once it became very obvious that J.K. Rowling sucked ass, Daniel Radcliffe, obviously he didn't come out and say she sucked ass. She's paid for however many houses he has, But he did say just because she sucks or her opinions suck or whatever, just because the person that made these stories believes X doesn't mean that they can't still mean whatever they meant to you, which is a great point, I saw okay, someone's asking, have you seen The Gods Must Be Crazy? You can ask me if I've seen old movies. I don't get out to see new stuff. And we do have a good theater here, more against that like middle of nowhere thing. And I get the middle of nowhere joke, okay? But we have like a very nice theater it's only like 7 years old. It's got 8 theaters. So we get all the like mega low blockbuster crap at least. And every once in a while we get like cool weird shit, We actually had Godzilla Minus Zero for like a week. I didn't make it to it. But so I saw Gods Must Be Crazy 2 in geography class, like 9th or 10th grade. My teacher, Mr. Iverson, who's pretty fucking cool, he also took us to meet Red Green once at a duct tape signing. But anyways, I think it was his class. He showed The Gods Must Be Crazy too. Who keeps watching Transformers movies? I enjoyed Bumblebee. I mean, the Michael Bay ones are dumb. I've seen a couple of them, but I enjoyed Bumblebee. I heard that the new one, Beasts, Rise of the Beast Man, whatever, was good and more in line with like the Bumblebee movie, which would be cool. Because I'd like that they finally made because I did grow up with Transformers. And so, I'll admit the reason I like Bumblebee was a nostalgia thing. Because they made the Transformers fucking look like Transformers instead of like, I'm going to take a sheet of tinfoil, draw a bunch of colors on it, and then crumple it up and throw it at the screen. That's kind of how Michael Bay made his Transformer movies, But so, I thought it was very cool how Optimus Prime actually looks like a guy that turns into a truck. Finally. That kind of thing. Dan Bailey says, Regal finally got rid of that terrible commercial. We don't have Regal out here. It's there was a Trailer Boys a month or two ago where I mentioned some of the, like, pre-film programming, my movie theater gets here, and people were like, what the fuck is Noovie? Noovie. And it's hosted by Maria Menounos, right? Okay. And she's like a model. Nate says she's from Boston, I guess. But, she just like hosts this little show about movies and stuff. It's like a bunch of wank-off stuff, not really... and by wank-off, I mean I think she's hot. But also, the material's just kind of... But anyways. But they also have like a little trivia game. And I like movie trivia. I like trivia. I like movies. There you go. But so it's called like Cinemagic or something. I don't know. Cinemark. I don't know. Anyways, it's a chain like in the Midwest. There's some here, Iowa, maybe Minnesota, Wisconsin, that kind of thing. Anyways, the best thing about this chain, first of all, they do take care of their movie theaters. Our movie theater is 7 years old, which isn't even that old for theater, but they keep it up, and it's very nice. Good sound and picture, good seats, Also, the Magic Bucket. I don't know if other theater chains out there are doing the Magic Bucket, but it's fucking great. You, once a year, you buy a large plastic bucket filled with popcorn from them for like $15, okay? Doesn't sound like that great of a deal yet, right? But then every time you go back to the theater, you pay $2 to fill that bucket back up. Fucking awesome, right? And our theater recently just brought this back. On Tuesdays, movies are $5 a ticket, and the Magic Bucket is fucking free. So, I mean, come on, that's great. See, Dan Baylor says, I used to love Cinemark's pre-movie cartoons with the singing cats. Well, that makes me think maybe it isn't Cinemark, because I don't know about that. But anyways, it's also Odyssey. There's a lot of, we live in such a, I saw Josie and the Pussycats recently, which is a brilliant satirical movie. I know it's hard to understand that phrase if you haven't seen the movie, but it is. It's great. And one of the jokes in the movie is like, they show like New York, and this is right before 9/11, so there's still the Twin Towers. But the Twin Towers, Empire State, and all the other skyscrapers covered in ads, right? But then you think about the real world, and it's like the movie theater chain in Watertown, South Dakota is part of like a series of 10 theaters, and it's like 3 different companies, and they probably owned up and up and up, and it's like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? So it's a little crazy. Wonko, you love Josie and the Pussycats? Sweet. I showed last week that I bought it. It's not a fancy edition or anything, but that is a movie, like a Vinegar Syndrome, where I could see Arrow doing a really fun release of it. I guess that'd be a good Shout Factory movie too. But okay, Jazzercist, I fucking hate spam questions. But that's a good question. So if you promise not to say it again, I'll answer it. Farts that smell bad has a good point. Farting, farting, farting. Can't get enough of that farting. I mean, can't argue with that. Okay, let's look up the movies that came out in... Okay, so... I really have started to feel like actually old lately. Like, my eyes are getting weaker, I can tell that, and just kind of starting to be like, these fucking kids, that kind of thing. I mean, I've been yelling at you guys for fucking years, though, so I guess it's not really different. Okay, movies that came out in 1995. Okay, 1981. All right, well, I should just look at a list. Let's see here. Oh, well, okay, well, number 1, oh my God, holy shit, this is a good year. Okay, so I'm just looking on IMDb, all right? And I'm going to double check these because IMDb, they can accept stuff from users, and everyone's a fucking moron, so okay, yeah, so I guess gotta check a few movies here, but you guys will be surprised what the 4 films that were on the top, where it's like, holy shit. Okay, I mean, one was like not great, but whoa. Just okay, so okay, that came out here in 1982, though, so that one doesn't count. I thought one of those sounded wrong. Okay, but look at the top 3 that came out in 81: Raiders of the Lost Ark, Excalibur, which I haven't seen, and some of the people here that their brain forces them to pretend every 80s movie is great will say that I'm missing out by not seeing Excalibur. But anyways, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Number 3 was Escape from New York. 4 said Road Warrior, which came out in 81 in Australia, but not till 82 here. So I don't know if we can count that one. But then after that, Possession, which is a Polish horror movie, which I only saw for the first time about a year ago, and it is fucking crazy. But yeah, that's only... I haven't even hit scroll yet. Porky's, The Evil Dead, Das Boot, American Werewolf in London, Body Heat, Clash of the Titans, Stripes, For Your Eyes Only, Time Bandits, Thief. Jesus fucking Christ, how am I supposed to pick from this stuff? Wow. Anyways, what a good fucking list of that shit, right? That's like only like 20, that was like 20, The Burning, number 23, great slasher movie. Blowout, Travolta, De Palma, hell yeah. Fox and the Hound, underrated Disney film. Scanners, jeez Louise, and I'm only in 30. We got, okay, now it starts getting bad. Yeah. The Howling's down there. That's good. Friday the 13th, too, is a pretty good one of those. Arthur, whatever. Southern Comfort, a movie I'm receiving soon from Vinegar Syndrome. Haven't seen it. Blind bought it because it looks great. Caveman, Outland, The Final Conflict, which is like Omen 6 or something. Halloween 2, which is definitely a movie. My Bloody Valentine, The Funhouse, that's a good one. The Beyond, whew, that's a crazy-ass movie, the Italian horror movie. The Great Muppet Caper, which was my favorite Muppet movie, came out in 1981. Hell yeah. So when you ask what's my favorite movie from my birth year, Jesus fucking Christ, how do I do that? I guess I go with, Raiders or Escape from New York. I mean, geez, like literally, no, Empire Strikes Back was 1980. Trust me on that. So anyways, any room in my house, if I turn the camera, there's Star Wars things. So, Fox and the Hound. Yeah, that's a tough one. Okay. Jazzer says, did I properly answer your question? You're the one that said that, yeah, that's tough, man. Okay, yeah. So one thing I said in there was blind buy. So I want to talk about that a little bit, actually. That's something I wanted to bring up. I belong to a subreddit called Boutique Blu-rays because I'm a Blu-ray collector. And I don't know, I feel like every subreddit I like lately has seen just a massive influx of fucking trolls. I don't know what it is. Guess gearing up for another election year, probably. But, anyways. So there's this guy, I just assume it's a guy because when they say dumb shit, I just assume it's a dude. I feel like it's a safe assumption. So, I have ADHD, by the way. Okay, so, fuck. Blind buys. Okay, so this guy, let's just say it's a guy, because it probably was, went on Reddit and said, if a movie is, if a movie's available, I should read the actual thing verbatim because it's so fucking stupid. But, this is why entertainment is becoming this, corporate fucking, morass. And that you can no longer make a bigger budget cool drama like you could in the 70s and 80s and 90s, and here I'll get to it in just a moment here. There we go. Okay, there we go. Okay. Welcome back to Dads on the Internet. Oh, he deleted his post. What a little bitch. Ah, what a fucking asshole. Man. Okay. They basically said if a movie's on YouTube, if a movie you like is on YouTube, would you still buy it? Well, Quintana, I do have ADHD though. So, have you tried not having this disease? No, nope. I just had it. Anyway, so so first of all, okay, so that's not the worst thought in the world. I do understand why some be like, well, if I can watch it for free, why not? Well, the quality on YouTube is often bullshit, as anybody who likes Whitest Kids knows. Also, okay, so here's my response. Well, and before I say my response, though, this same person said later in the comments that blind buys, meaning when you buy a movie without seeing it. And in the world of collector Blu-rays, there's lots of cool movies that come out, and sometimes you're like, I know I would like that movie, I've heard of it, blah, 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 gonna buy it. I did that with Existenz, the David Cronenberg movie. Had a B. Actually, I paid for. I didn't know what movie it was going to be because it was this fun Vinegar Syndrome sale they do, where you get a big discount price, but you don't know what you're going to get. And I ended up getting Existenz, and I was really excited because I've never seen it, but it's David Cronenberg. It was a weird sci-fi. I knew I would love it. Last week I got a little bit too high to be watching it, but watched it anyways, and I fucking had a great time. So, anyway, but that's a blind buy. But this person said later on in a comment, blind buys are for people who don't know what they like, which is fucking insane. Like, what? That doesn't even, I don't even understand how you get from one point to the other. So I said, I mean, you guys know me. I took it with, I didn't take it personally. I didn't include any venom in my response, and I was not mean. So I say, if I like a movie, I buy it on disc when I can. Streaming services are simply some billionaire asshole choosing what we can watch. I said that. I believe that. I think we can all agree on that, right? Especially anyone who liked Sam's cartoon he wrote on Take and Seek. Quintana, yes, we're getting there. Good point. Quintana says, what? Why? Movie tickets are a blind buy. So, streaming services are simply a billionaire asshole choosing what we can watch. No thanks. YouTube still has a Wild West feeling and is great for stuff that hasn't been released on disc yet. Lots of old Kung Fu movies and Hong Kong movies and just weird shit like that martial arts serial killer movie Blood Moon are just floating in the ether. So, sometimes YouTube's great to watch that. And then I continue, but it can fall apart at any minute due to copyright claims. And what do you think about this next thing? I said, to collect physical media is to have more control over your choices as a consumer. And you know that I hate those weird jargon words like consumer, but I think that is a real point. You know what I mean? And then I said, blind buys are a fun way to enrich your collection and find new treasures. Absolutely. And then I said, in short, your line about blind buys are for people who don't know what they like is ignorant horseshit, and you should feel ashamed of yourself for saying it in here. You don't have to like doing them yourself, but that is a blanket statement and is garbage. So, Just live in the now, man. What are you talking about? So, anyways, so whoever said, what was it? I forget who already said it, but, oh, hold on. Genesis says, have you seen the stuff about Trevor's music being taken off streaming? Yes, I have nothing to do with Trevor's solo stuff or his estate or any of that, so I have no answers and know nothing, and that's too bad. Anyways, so back to this bullshit movie instead of my dead friend that I miss very much to think about every day, okay? Quintana said, but going to the movies are a blind buy. Yeah, so someone said to me, the first thing that comes to my mind every time someone bemoans blind buys is that every new movie in the theater is a blind buy. You're paying to see something you've never seen and probably know a little about, and you'll have to pay again if you want to see it again. And I said, good point. Also, thanks to subs like this, the subreddit, not my Dom sub, that's a different thing. I said, thanks to subs like this with sale alerts, I'm often buying a disc for the same price as a movie ticket. You know? So, I mean, if I get a movie for $20, you know, to take me and the kid to the movies, that's already, I mean, here it is really cheap, but it's still almost $20. Plus, we're going to get snacks. Hello, fat guy. The stream is a blind buy, am I right? No, the stream is not a blind buy because it's free. And I know that was a joke, but I'm going to tear it apart anyways. But a lot of you have made a blind buy in relation to the Whitest Kids, which is Mars, right? And, you know, we're shipping it over to festivals right now. Once it gets accepted to some, whatever. Once we get in one, and we'll start finding that out more soon. But once we get in some, we can, you know, the people who are able to distribute it will see it and say, hey, I'd like to buy it. So that's a step we're at now. But anyways, thoughts on the new Batman? I don't know what that means. You mean the one that's a year old? Mythic says, I see where it is tidy with your book library. That is still, that shelves in progress. This one's pretty good. You know, that one even has kind of a display going on there. So, yeah. Anyways. Brad Nugget says, I'll distribute if you want. I don't mind. Great, thanks. We'll get you a phone call. Yeah, I like the Robert Pattinson Batman, but good God, do I not want to talk about comic book movies though. Anyways, so the idea is blind buys, okay? So as I said, I collect Blu-rays, and I have a couple blind buys that I wanted to show, and I haven't even watched them yet, but I enjoyed them. But I also will look at some movies that I've seen lately, because, you know, I buy a lot of Blu-rays, especially lately. I had some extra cash, and I bought a bunch. Yeah, I give us a bunch of idiots that I'm funding a movie and then spend it all on buying Blu-rays. But anyways, let's see here. I'm going to open up my Letterboxd diary so I can see what I've watched. Because the reason I even started that account is because I have such bad ADHD. Can't remember stuff, okay? Doomshell says, I'm watching this while poop, and one of my poop stuck in my asshole, and I can't get it out, but while watching the stream, there's a part that made me laugh, and the poop came out. Yeah. Why the fuck did I read that out loud? Okay, so, okay. Blind buys. All right, this goes right into it. Good job, Labaka. Labaka 1977 says, talk about Voyage of the Rock Aliens. I'm not a crank. Voyage of the Rock Aliens was on Vinegar Syndrome. I bought it blind because it looked ridiculous. And Vinegar Syndrome is a label that they're very easy to trust. Every weird, archaic, obscure film they find that they say, you guys, this is crazy. When you watch it, it's like, yep, that's fucking crazy. So, you know, they're pretty good about it. So Voyage of the Rock Aliens is like a punk rock, kind of new wave. Well, it's kind of new wave versus like Greaser, Stray Cats type punks, right? So it's like a musical, and it's got sci-fi, and Michael Berryman, you know, the tall, kind of interesting looking guy from horror movies. He fights a squid, like a Cthulhu tentacle thing at one point. So, yeah, it's good. And if I hadn't, like, I knew from the cover, it's this goofy, cheesy cover. I knew that's something that's up my, that's up my alley, right? Because I like goofy shit, and I like genre mashups. So I'm like, okay, I'll probably like this. And I liked it. So if I was against blind buying, well, I wouldn't have seen it. Also, if a movie I like is on YouTube, I don't give a fucking shit. When I watch movies on YouTube, I watch like Freaked on YouTube because it's so hard to fucking find. There was a Blu-ray, but it's like $150 or something. And then there's like a British release. I don't even know if there's that, because I would have bought it, because I have an all-region player. So anyways, stuff like that that's like so tied up in rights and shit that no one can ever see it. Okay, that's what YouTube's for. Freaked is a movie co-written by Alex Winter, who would be Bill from the Bill and Ted movies. And the cast is crazy. Bobcat Goldthwait's in it. Anyways, it's like a practical special effects extravaganza, and it's fucking insane. And it's really funny, and it's kind of based on the sketch show that he and his buddies had at the time. Oh yeah, Mr. T is in it. Brooke Shields. Like it's good. It's a good cast. So. Someone says, I don't have much money for movies, so when I often find myself renting stuff off YouTube. Well, that's fine, but you just said renting, so that's money. You know, if you like rent 4 or 5 movies, well, you could buy one you really like for the same price, you know. But anyways, but so blind buys. So here's some blind buys here's a couple I haven't watched yet. A new label that just started called Radiance, which is, I believe, are they British? They're British, but they're releasing in America too, but they seem to have less of they don't really do the schlock as much. They're kind of going for classier stuff, but I'm very excited to watch this. My daughter, who's 12, saw the title and was like, fucking what? That's awesome. Yeah, well, she didn't say fucking what, but, you know. But it's a Yakuza movie from the 60s, so I'm excited to see that. And then this. Okay, so I love the movie Django, which is a spaghetti western starring Franco Nero, who is one of the most handsome people alive. Even this drawing of him, it's like, holy shit, man. You know, right? Anyway, so this is 3 mafia movies he's in. And so, like, I can't wait to watch those. What if I don't like some of them? Fine. You know, but I know I like Franco Nero. I know I like Italian movies. I know I like mafia movies, so I bought it. I'll enjoy it. And, you know, that cost me, I don't know, 20 or 30 bucks. But, again, really, what's, you know, on the big picture, it's not like a big deal. You know what I mean? Hold on, hang on. It says, where do you look for these? On the internet. You know, I have found out a lot of stuff myself, but then when I joined that Reddit Boutique Blu-rays, found out a lot of stuff that way too. You know, but so those are movies I, you know, blind bought, probably will enjoy. Also, you know, there's sometimes when it's about the memories and the nostalgia, right? So last year in March, I took one of my very good friends, known her for 30 years, probably, maybe more, Amber. We went to New Orleans, and there's this weird little bookstore by a hotel, and I went in there, and I found this for $10. I'd seen the first one, but not the rest of them, and I found this for $10, and it's the Leprechaun Pot of Gore collection, 5 films on DVD, and it was $10, right? Now, 1 is good. 3 and 4 and 5 are alright. Well, 2 sucks. 3's pretty much sucky. Leprechaun in Space is ridiculous. Leprechaun in the Hood, which is part 5, is also ridiculous. So, you know, Jennifer Tilly's boobs are in this box. What are her boobs in one of the movies? Can't remember. Anyways, but so, yeah, the movies are whatever. They're still fun to watch. But, I mean, the memory of, like, hungover after our first night in New Orleans, walking in this bookstore that was like stacks of books where my fat belly couldn't even like get into some parts of the store because I didn't want to knock books over. And he had random fucking piles of DVDs, and I found this Leprechaun box set that's kind of beat up, but I'm like, $10, hell yes. And I managed to jam it into my fucking suitcase, and, you know, so that's like a story. So, you know, it's less about, have I seen this movie? Have I not seen this movie? But when I'm picking them out, it's like, is this the kind of thing that I'll be happy I bought? Because that's what it's about. It's not trying to like only have the best library. Because what is the best? Well, this is art. It's subjective, so you can't. That doesn't exist, right? The best film library doesn't exist. So it's just about like, what do I, you know? So really, a hobby is about making yourself happy, right? So what am I going to be happy about? Whether or not. Even if every film in this box set sucks, I very much doubt that. But even if I don't like any of the movies in here, this thing looks cool on my shelf. I'm glad that I supported a cool independent movie label that's like resurrecting lost films and giving them a nice treatment like this, okay? And also just got those fucking, look at those eyes, you know? So, you know, it's all part of that. It's about, because what is this about? This is about, enriching your own life by doing something you like. And so it's like, well, will I be happy about that? Yeah. So that's kind of how I do it. I'm very happy I bought this. This is, sometimes there's some movies that you're not going to get on some cool little boutique label because they're a big movie owned by a big company. Okay, but this, I got a steelbook on sale recently of Batman Returns, and I watched it the other day. And it's technically a Christmas movie, but so obviously that movie's great. I think most people probably agree on that at this point in time. But the Blu-ray, and that's just like Warner Bros. Put that out, whatever. Doesn't have a lot of special features or anything. But goddamn, I'd heard that they did a good transfer, and it looks so fucking good just on Blu-ray. So, I don't really care about 4K. Maybe eventually I will, and I'm sure it'll even look better then, but I don't really care about 4K. But, because 4K, it's just like, if I said right now that I was enjoying some PS4 game, there'd be 10 comments, and it's not any rag on you guys, just how the world works. If I said, I'm enjoying this PS4 game, there'd be 10 comments. Oh, you get PS5? It's like, well, they got us constantly jumping after the next thing. It's like, I'm not getting new eyes, right? I just said that my eyes are starting to fail, so maybe I'll get glasses. But what I mean is, human eyes are human eyes, okay? Maybe we're going to evolve more in the future. But I don't see, 8K. There's only so much these fuckers can do. You know what I mean? So what the fuck just happened? Just a window open for no reason. That's crazy. So Erdo Tali and Ash Tucker are having a conversation here that I am interested in. Ash Tucker says, that's why I like physical copies too. Memories around them. That's why I like records as well. I call it treasure hunting. Even if I can buy a new copy online to find something amazing at a secondhand store is just badass. Absolutely true. And like I said when I was reading that little Reddit raising I gave that guy who then fucking pussied out on it. The only way to have control over the media you want to, and I hate the word consume because it's so fucking generic and weird, but just to give it a big enough feeling, the only way to have control over the music you listen to, the books you read, the movies you watch, whatever, is to fucking have them, right? And libraries are obviously a very great way of exposing yourself to new literature, especially, but a lot of them these days have good movie collections as well. However, the fucking stupid fucking, the dumbest version of a right-wing dictatorship that's been trying to take over the country is getting rid of libraries. Obviously, yes, that's what they want because they don't want people to be smart or else they might figure out we're getting fucked in the butt by these idiots. In a bad way. I know there's a great way. I know a lot of people like doing it in the butt. And that's fine. I'm just saying this would be bad. If a bear did it. But anyways, so the best way to have control over what you're going to read, listen to, watch, whatever, is to fucking get it. And if you find a cool copy at a thrift store or you buy it new or whatever, that's what you do. And when you are a guy like me that likes to collect them, well, then you're just going for this makes me happy. Plus, part of the whole thought process, and will I be glad I bought this? Do I like the packaging? Yes. Do I like the actor? Yes. Do I like the kind of movie? Yes. So there's a very good chance right there I'll like the movie. Also, after the fucking, Pizza Hut wars, whatever's going to fucking happen, and there's no more movie theaters, or the internet's cut off, right? And there's no fucking streaming services anymore. Well, then you guys are going to come to my house so we can watch the fucking movies. I'll have a generator. We'll get it going, but it's, I just, the thing is, and there's some streaming exclusive stuff that's cool, but at the end of the day, even when I have that Vudu VUDU, that's it's like a streaming thing, but it's like VOD movies. And a lot of times when you buy a physical copy of something, it will also have a code to download it. So I'll do that, and I have a pretty full Vudu library, And the thing is so do I own those? No, I own the hard copies. I don't own those digital things. So the idea of buying a movie just as a digital copy, which I've done here and there for whatever reason, it's I don't own that, and with the streaming thing, it's even less of that. It's you can find things you like, but then it's up to, honestly, it's look at that fucker running Max now, HBO Max. If he sits down to dinner, and something pokes him in the ass, and it happens to be like his kid's Batman toy, he might make HBO Max take off all the Batman shit. You know what I mean? So that's, But Doo-Wop Shabab says, you own nothing, just writes, you're fun. You must be a lot of fun. Anyways, but so it's like, and sure, maybe we don't own anything and we're all naked, fucking, everything sucks. Sure, whatever you want to think. But at least at this level, I can watch the shit I want to watch, and I don't have to worry about some asshole randomly deciding not to. But, yeah, so that's kind of why, that's why I have no problem with blind buys. And look, I mean, does it cost money to do that stuff? Yeah, sure. If you don't want to spend that money, then don't do it. But I don't like any sort of blanket objective truth bullshit, especially when it comes to art or collecting or anything that is purely subjective. So that's all there is. That's all there is to that. It's like, like, it's just funny to be mad at someone for how they might buy movies. It's like, how the fuck is this hurting you? Honestly, every time I buy a Vinegar Syndrome movie, I feel like I'm getting them closer to being able to put out a kick-ass box set of the first three, like the three 90s Turtle movies. That's what I want. I want a beautiful box set with new art and really kick-ass transfers of the first three Turtles movies. Wouldn't that be great? I think that'd be great. Rustin Mendrick says, double dipping Twin Peaks collections is only for real ones. So did you get the complete mystery and the Z to A and the TV collection, or which ones did you do? I've luckily held off and only have one. I'm a big Twin Peaks fan, but I only have it once. I didn't double dip on any of that. Mythic says, they can have my Jeff Foxworthy totally committed VHS when they pry it from my cold dead hand. Fucking exactly, Mythic. And yes, I know you're being a little sarcastic wise ass because who cares about Jeff Foxworthy really? But that's not the point. The point is, let's say you really cared about that. Maybe you, and I don't know, maybe you are a major Jeff Foxworthy guy. Okay. Wow. Nate is apparently watching the stream with his nephew, who's young, as most of you know, a very young person, and his caption of the picture says, Uncle Timmy is using swear words. Oh, no. Yes, fucking sorry, Wally, don't repeat any of this bullshit, okay? Okay, Mythic says, I have it, but I have no idea where it came from. I think he sneaks into people's houses and leaves it. That might be. Yeah, if he was sneaking into Mythic CDXX's house at night and leave a VHS under his couch, y'all might be right there. Anyways, but yeah, so I think it's important. Erdo Tolly says, Nate's the cool uncle who lets Wally stay up late to watch the PG-13 movies. Hell yeah. I should just start creating something just fucking horrible, like, I don't know, The Beyond, or, I don't know. There's one of those Italian movies where they cut someone's boobs off, something like that. Okay, but yeah, so that's kind of my spiel about like blind buys and that whole thing. It's like, okay, why don't you just let people like what they like? I'm really fucking stoked to have like some sort of criminal fest, because here's something I blind bought, sort of. I liked the first one, but I bought the other ones. This is actually 5 movies, but it's only on 3 discs, but Battles Without Honor and Humanity, okay? Great set of Japanese Yakuza movies from the 70s, okay? So I did blind buy, and it's still being mailed to me. But the sequel trilogy that's 5 movies. Then the same guy made another group of movies called New Battles Without Honor and Humanity. It's 3 more Yakuza movies. And then they did it again in the early, 99, 2000. They made one, which is very hard to find. It's one of those things. It's under so many different names, and there's so many different rights issues that it's hard to find. However, everybody knows the music, because the music from that one is the same music. In fact, if I just do the first 3 notes, you'll know what I mean. Bam, bam, bam. Kill Bill Volume 1, when they're showing everybody, all the bad guys kind of getting ready for the big fight at the end, That's the song is called Battle Without Honor and Humanity, and it's from that. So Yeah, but anyways, so I'm excited for that. And so it's a way, you know what it is? Instead of waiting for some fucking stupid streaming service to get something I'm meaning to see, if I see it on sale for a good chunk off what it normally costs, like half off or more, I'll fucking buy it. You know what I mean? Why not? So, anyways, that's the end of that. That's not really talking about movies. That's talking about trying to fucking decide how your love of creativity, things, and culture is it can still thrive in this fucking corporate hellhole we live in. But have I ever walked out of a movie? No, and I know some of my good friends have, but I wouldn't be able to handle it. And maybe that's my anxiety and ADHD and all that stuff, or maybe I'm just too nice. I don't know. But I can't. By the way, that's not off topic. This is Timmy Talks About Movies. You fucking nailed it. Your question says movie in it. All right. And Timmy. That's 2 of the 5 words. No, 4 words. That's 3 words. You got 2 of the 3 words. Timmy Talks About Movies. There's 4 words. Anyways, 50% success rate. Point is, like, I have to finish every movie I start watching. And but that's also probably why I'm kind of selective about what I go to generally. But yeah, and I also probably naive. Well, here's the thing. I won't even call it naive. I've already gone off probably every time I do this stream. I'll go off about this whole bad movies or good movies. Or like it's, you know, I just am, the older I get, the more I feel like that isn't a thing, good and bad. I feel like I'm becoming 100% into subjectivity, where it's like I do feel like every movie has something of quality, something of value, whether the filmmaker intended it or not, you know? But FT dude, what is a bad movie? I mean, you could quantify it by like, here's what the film professor said to do, and this movie didn't do any of them. This is bad. Is it? I mean, how many fucking like painters got good because they did the opposite of what their teacher told them to do? See, Mythic, that's one reason I like Mythic, because he says the craziest shit as objective truth, and it never is, and it's fun. Mulholland Drive is a bad movie. That one might be. I've never heard of Mulholland Drive. I do like Mulholland Drive, and I think I think enough people like it that just saying this is bad is gonna people's gonna come after you now. A bad movie to me is a movie that sets its own rules, then breaks it. Okay. I know there's examples that would prove you wrong, but because I think that can work in a movie too, you know. I feel like that's something that Spike Jonze is what's his name, Charlie Kaufman, one or both of those guys have probably done something that did that, you know. I did not see Godzilla -1. For no good reason. Okay, well, so now you're just like slivering it down until you're like, I hate movies that break their own rules for no good reason because they're called Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4. But that kind of goes into something I wrote down that I want to talk about. Walking out of a movie. Okay, so like I said, I wouldn't do it. But I want to, but there are times when I go to a movie I don't think I'll like, and I'll just sit through it. But what I want to talk about, and I think I mentioned this one when I promoted it on Twitter, Instagram, whatever, is what's something, you know, and like I just said, I don't think you can say this movie's good, this movie's bad, but you personally can hate a movie, you know what I mean? I just don't think telling someone else this movie's bad kind of works. It doesn't work to me because it's bad to you. When you just say it's bad, sure. Oh, well, people are just supposed to understand it's my opinion. Sure. But the words coming out of your mouth, if you just printed them up somewhere on a poster and put it there, well, that looks like you're just declaring an objective truth about something that you can't really declare an objective truth about. So, it's good to say, well, I think that movie sucks. But the point is, it is possible to hate a movie. Sure, if you hate a movie, you hate a movie. So I was thinking it might be interesting to talk about movies that you went into thinking you'll fucking hate it, and you ended up liking it. And I think if you have children, that's much easier to make the list bigger for that, because it's like, you always, like, your kid wants to, I want to watch this commercial bullshit that was fed to me through McDonald's toys this month. Sometimes those turn out good, So yeah, Thunder Bunny, that's like your opinion, man. Perfect. So here's some I thought I would hate. Not the new one. No, I haven't seen it. Aquaman, the first one. And I put in parentheses, cynical IP, because it is. All of that stuff is like, well, these fuckers will pay money for it, let's just make it. But, it's one of those things where there's no reason that movie had to be good or whatever. But it just works because you could tell there's enough charm to it and enough Dolph Lundgren to it that it worked for me, Wonka is a very recent example of that. Fucking awesome. A prequel to Willy Wonka sounds like the most fucking cynical bullshit cash grab ever. But then you got the Paddington guy making it, so bazinga. Another one, Singing in the Rain. I used to say I hate musicals, and then I saw Gene Kelly's sculpted ass tap dancing across the screen and Singing in the Rain. And singing and dancing, and there's a lot of great funny parts, and I'm like, holy shit, lifelong lover of martial arts and fights and action movies like that. Well, fuck, man, what's a good musical? A good musical number is just like kung fu without punching. You know what I mean? It's just like choreographed stuff. There's that Coen Brothers movie, Hail Caesar, where it's about Hollywood in like the 30s and 40s and 50s, and so there's, they show the making of some movies, and so there's a scene where they just have a dance number because that's what's being shot in the movie. And it's great, so that kind of choreographed stuff is fucking awesome. R question mark, don't know what you mean. So my ideal musical would just be kung fu fighting. Maybe, yeah. The Greatest Show was better than I expected. That's a good call. And some people scoff at this, but I feel like there's movies that people just immediately say are great because they feel like they're supposed to. And I even bought this one, blind bought it because it was like $10 on a sale. And for a long time, I thought it would be pretentious and just way too kind of artsy and not making sense, but not making sense in a way... Not in a fun way or in a way that it feels like there's some sort of point. But The Holy Mountain, anything that's got that kind of a reputation to it, very kind of weird art film, I was like, oh, but then I heard it kind of had a Western thing. I love spaghetti Westerns, and it even does have a tad bit of a kind of martial arts sensibility to it. So I'm like, okay, well, I bought it, with a bunch of other stuff, cheap in a sale. Fucking love that movie. It's actually a pretty straightforward storyline, and it's very funny. And there is a bit like the main guy in it is kind of like the master, and there is a bit a scene or two where he fucks a dude up with martial arts. So there is that aspect to it that I like it. And it's very Western looking. Implicate, this is literally what we're doing. Movies I thought I would hate but turned out good. So you're on the right track, sort of. But what are some other ones? It's a Jodorowsky movie, or is that El Topo? You're right on both. They're both Jodorowsky movies. One from you is the OG black and white 12 Angry Men of Peter Fonda. The entire movie takes place in only like 3 sets. You're saying you thought you would hate it and you didn't, or are you calling it overrated, which would be wrong? But you thought you'd hate it, right? I probably thought the same thing after you did going into that one. By the way, if you're trying to ask me about RRR, I fucking loved RRR. And India does that kind of stuff all the time. But I also like a question with like It's like a sentence. But anyways, but yeah, so anyways, you something like Holy Mountain, I'm like, it's probably going to be pretty snooty. And I've thought that way about, like, because the thing is I went to film school in New York in the early 2000s. I lived in Brooklyn, in Williamsburg, the very hipster, but it kind of became like hipster central for the world for a little bit there. And so I've heard a lot of pretentious people say very pretentious things about a lot of pretentious movies. And it makes me avoid shit. Like, I never watched The 400 Blows until like a couple years ago, whenever Jean-Luc Godard died. That's a great movie. Breathless, Jean-Luc Godard. 400 Blows is by Truffaut. But anyways, I only saw that recently too, a couple years ago. So, and those are great movies, but those are movies that I heard some fucking hipster say all the time. The same people that call comic books graphic novels because they're so fucking worried about seeming cool to people all the time that they had to come up with some fucking dumb fucking phrase because they're worried that saying comic book makes them uncool. Guess what? The whole thought process makes you so much more uncool than just fucking saying comic book. Anyways, and hey, Alan Moore, Grant Morrison, and Neil Gaiman don't like the term graphic novel, so I win and you lose. Anyways, because those are the three dudes that write all the graphic novels those fucking hipsters like. You know what I mean? But anyway, but the thing is that a lot of those movies do end up being good. Citizen Kane is good. You always hear, it's the number one movie, da-da-da-da-da. Like, I know I'm kind of like this, even though being a big movie fan of all movies of all kinds, right? Even being like that, when I see something like the American Film Institute has named Citizen Kane as the number one movie, it instantly makes me fall asleep. Like, ugh. But then you watch it, holy shit, this movie is fun. It looks amazing. The camera trickery in that movie is so awesome that it's not even just for film nerds. Like, anybody can notice it. And I think that's one reason why everybody likes it, because it makes them feel smart, But it's good, So, but then there's ones that are just like, okay, this is overrated as shit. Like the original Thomas Crown Affair is so fucking boring. What were you doing, Steve McQueen? The Goonies, super overrated. So many like childhood classics are fucking bullshit. But so the thing about kids movies these days, though, is that like I said, Wonka was a good one. Aquaman, which they had a very kids movie energy to it. I think there's enough good movies now, or kids movies especially maybe 5-10 years ago when Pixar had already been king of the pile for a long time, but people were really starting to catch up to Pixar. And so there was a lot of good kids movies being made, and I feel like there still are. But, it's, there's still shitty ones. There was that year where there were 4 kids cartoons about Bigfoot. One was about a Yeti, one was about a Sasquatch, but there were 4 movies about Bigfoot. Wonko, you can't tell me I'm wrong about something like this. This is subjective, dude. And it's not just about... See, you didn't even listen to me the times I've told you I don't like Goonies. It's not just Cyndi Lauper. I fucking hate Cyndi Lauper. I hate her voice. Goonies, whether or not it has Cyndi Lauper in it, still, I don't like it. It's too much fucking yelling. It's too much yelling. That's all it is. It's just fucking kids yelling. I am the oldest of 6. I know what kids yelling are like. Okay, I don't care that one of them was short round. Knowles Paul, I'm talking about a recent movie, but I'm glad you know a thing. And now everybody knows you know the thing. No, it was a year, okay, Missing Link was one of them. Maybe, and one was called Smallfoot. Maybe... Yeah, too much yelling from a White Kids member. But the thing is so White Kids wasn't 2 hours of just yelling. There's a lot of yelling, but it's also like... I'm trying to do the math here. It's maybe 25 hours. So whatever. So there was Smallfoot. There was... Missing Link, maybe one was just called Yeti. And then there was shortly after that the one where the girl turned into a big red panda kind of Sasquatch. So, it was crazy. Drake says, to be fair, Zach's probably yelling for about 2 of those hours. Yeah, him and Sam. Well, you know what? We all had good yells, although my yell is always high-pitched and kind of like a little boy, because that's what I'm like. But we all yelled quite a bit. Darren, I'm thinking, has some good yelling when he plays like businessmen and shit like that, you know? So, Turning Red is actually good. Yeah, I thought it was great. Oh, yeah, going back to my double features idea that I was talking about last week, which I want to do every time. What about double feature ideas? Turning Red is about a girl who starts turning into a red panda when she hits puberty. She's a Chinese Canadian. I think they're in Toronto, right? And which has like a big Asian, I think mostly Chinese, neighborhood there, whatever, part of the population. And, so it's a lot about their traditions and culture and stuff, which is great. But also it's like, kind of this metaphor for a woman getting her period. Like now there's this red monster you have to deal with, So I thought that was a fun, and Lobaki already ruined what I was going to say, but I was saying that Turning Red would be a great double feature with Ginger Snaps. But Lobaka, maybe you and I are just fucking like, you're like an Earth 2 Timmy, or am I an Earth 2 Lobaka? But anyways, because we have a lot of similarities, my friend. But when it comes to movie stuff. But anyways, so, but it'd be great, right? You watch Turning Red first, then you watch Ginger Snaps, and like my kid who's 12, and I told her when she was starting to like read chapter books, she's like, I can't read picture books anymore. I'm like, that's fucking bullshit. You can still read an easy reader book if you like to read it. You can still read a picture book if you like to read it. And so now that even though she's old enough to go on 13, she's old enough to watch more intense movies than our movies, she'll still like kids' movies. So my kid could watch this double feature with me, Turning Red and then Ginger Snaps. I think that's good, right? Wait, Principal Rolls, you were going to say Turning Red and Ginger Snaps too? Wow. Ginger Snaps is also about a girl who turns into a werewolf, and it's not necessarily maybe it is a puberty thing, but I think she's like a little older than that, like still in high school, but already becoming a lady. But it's definitely like a werewolf, a lycanthropy as horniness, for sure. Did you watch Ginger Snaps on Midhunters? I don't know. Okay, well, right, there's a thing right under your mythic. Dr. Quintana says I watched Ginger Snaps for the first time on Nate's streaming, so there you go. That's probably what they're talking about right there. Yeah, Ginger Snaps is cool. Yeah, double features. I'll try and think of some more. I should write them down, because when I have ideas for a good one, they're normally like totally unrelated. Here's another interesting topic that was on my head about movies that I wrote down. What are some like extremely famous movies, iconic movies, very famous that like pretty much everybody knows about? Right, and you go through life knowing that movie exists, but never seeing it, okay? But then you finally see it, and it's completely fucking different from what you thought it was. Are there any movies like that for you? I wrote down 3 for me, and I'm sure there's more examples. Wonka, what's My Demon Lover? Is that anime? Anyways, it sounds like it's anime. Requiem for a Dream? Okay, that's a good example. Fight Club before I first saw it. Okay, but hold on. El Dudrino, when did you see Fight Club? Not anime, okay. Because if you saw Fight Club when it came out, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about movies that you go to see in the theater and weren't what you thought. I'm talking about movies that are like in the public cultural lexicon that you finally get around to watching. You know those movies that assholes shame you for not having seen? That's what I'm talking about. And I'll tell you mine, maybe this will kind of make you realize what I'm talking about. Okay, so the original Universal Pictures The Mummy with Boris Karloff, okay? Everybody thinks it's going to be about a guy in bandages wandering around. That happens for like 50 seconds, possibly. The Matt Cave, that's on my list too. It's a Wonderful Life. Just saw that for the first time a month ago. Did not know that it was mostly like a drama that turns into a Twilight Zone episode. I knew obviously the hook, right? But I didn't know what it was going to be like. And I'm not seeing people bringing up The Matrix. And so if you saw The Matrix not that long ago, okay. But I'm not going off of a movie that marketed itself very well, because I'll talk about that in a second, actually, because I wanted to talk about that too. But and that kept its meaning for what it was really about from you. Barbarian did a good job of that. The Matrix did a great job of that. Fight Club did a good job of that. There's a few. I'm just talking about a movie that, however it came out, but it was never part of it to not know what's really going on in it. There was no subversion. It's just that you have known this movie existed. It's a big deal. You just never got around to watching it. And then when you do, what the fuck? Another one I wrote down, The Fly, the 1958 The Fly. Okay, I'd seen the 80s The Fly, obviously very cool. And Dr. Otana says Barbarian didn't have enough barbarians, so kind of misleading. Not if it's called Barbarian. There's a few. The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. Okay, so that's not what that's about, huh? I haven't seen that one. But anyways, the Vincent Price version of The Fly is kind of a drama about a marriage for quite a while. And Vincent Price is not The Fly. My all-time favorite movie is The Legend of I Hate That Question. I think at this point there'll probably be 40 movies on that list. But I would say, if I'm thinking about the top, the ones I always really go back to, Empire Strikes Back, Spinal Tap, Doctor Strangelove. But those have been my favorites for years. The more recent favorites would include the original Halloween, the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. I don't know. There's so many. Saying one, if you just only have one favorite movie, we get it. You love Paul Blart, Right when I said that, someone said mine is Anchorman, and I'm not ashamed. So kind of similar. They Live is a pretty good film despite its low budget. I don't even know if I call that a low... if you think that They Live is low budget, I've got some shit for you to see. Because, especially a lot of the weird films that get rescued by boutique Blu-ray labels, some of those things are made for, $5. I'm trying to think... And I'm not talking about movies that are hyped. Just about movies that were, they're beyond hype, where it's like Mickey Mouse, where it's just a fucking thing now that's out there. The Godfather, there's probably people that saw The Godfather. I mean, I guess you probably get at if you probably go to The Godfather. If you've never seen The Godfather, you could probably still go into it being okay, I know what this is going to be like, right? And you'd be right. It is that, but it's just a fucking great version of that. And there's probably little things in it that make it great that would surprise you. But in general, I'm still talking about the Universal Pictures version of The Mummy. It's way different than what you thought it would be. Just like The Fly. And yeah, I think It's a Wonderful Life, way different. Casablanca, or however the fuck you say that, Casablanca, that was pretty much what I thought it would be when I finally saw it. That was one classic movie. I finally saw it. It's what it looks like, but it's great. Lobaka says about the Universal Mummy, it's way closer to Dracula than I expected. Hey, good comparison. Fucking agree. Mythic says The Pit and the Pendulum was good. I didn't know anything about it. It was just on one time. No, Mythic, was it Vincent Price or was it the Lance Henriksen one from the 90s? I've seen the Vincent Price one and never gotten around to the 90s one. Okay, I've always wanted to see that one. I'm trying to think of other movies where it's I had no fucking I think my point really is a movie that you thought you know what it was going to be about and it's not. Oh, a recent one that I blind bought, The Man with Two Brains, Steve Martin. That was not what I thought it was going to be. I think the reason I like this question the way I'm putting it is that it's very personal. It's not about hype or marketing or anything. It's about if there's a movie that was famous to you that you feel like you've heard about forever and finally you're going to sit down and watch it and then it's not at all what you kind of thought. So yeah, I put The Man with Two Brains on that list. Rear Window. You mean it got you yeah, it's definitely, I love it, but it's not what you thought it would be. Do I like Jeff Goldblum, The Fly? Yeah. The best movie is Free Palestine. God, yeah, we should. Thoughts on John Waters? I've not seen a lot of John Waters movies, but I think it is very important and great that he exists and that he made his movies. Like I've seen Pink Flamingos and Pecker and a few other ones, but it's really good that he was able to do that. Yeah, exactly, Michael. Yeah, it's such a great movie. LeBucket says, thanks for the Cash on Demand rack a while back. I really enjoyed that one. Great. Isn't that a fun movie? So, Cash on Demand, Hammer Studios, but not a horror movie. Hammer's famous for doing horror, but they did other stuff too. But Peter Cushing was in almost all of it, or Christopher Lee, or both of them. Cash on Demand it was first aired on television, then but the full thing's about 70 minutes, and I think it's based on a play, but it's just a bank manager. A dude wanders in the bank manager's office and says, we're going to walk out of here. You're going to help me rob all the money out of your safe. And if you don't, I'm going to light my cigarette at the window over there, and a guy's going to see me who's going to kill your wife and kid. It's great. Lobaka says, the description of if Ebenezer Scrooge is visited by Hans Gruber is sort of great. That is a great description. I hadn't heard that. That's perfect. Apocalypse Dude says, my friend's coming over tomorrow. What should we watch, Timmy? Well, that's a great question. How old are you and your friend? If you feel weird saying your exact age, tell me like a decade you're in, 10s, 20s, whatever. You're 18. You're 18. Okay, so what is one of your favorite movies? They are both toddlers. Oh, well, then Cannibal Holocaust, obviously. It looks like Rad Nuggies and Squirrel having a conversation we'll have. RoboCop generally thought it'd be some brainless cop propaganda action movie and was very wrong. Yeah, very wrong, right? Dude, you got Verhoeven's Future trilogy, which would be, I mean, they're not really related, but they're his three futuristic, fun sci-fi movies. Total Recall, RoboCop, or no, RoboCop would be first. So RoboCop, then Total Recall, and then Starship Troopers. Fucking awesome. Spoontree says check ID to say if they're 18. Okay. Clerks and the House Bunny. Okay. Well, so if you were going to watch a movie with your friend, let's get you out of your comfort zone. Let's not watch a comedy. Try to find John Woo's Hard Boiled from 1991. I feel like two 18-year-olds are going to have a great time watching Hard Boiled. That's probably I think that's how old I was when I first saw it. The thing is, 18 years old now, that means like anything before 2005 is like classic film to you, I suppose. Holy shit. I just watched The Running Man with my daughter, the Schwarzenegger film. Way different from the book, which is fine. But I mean, I'd seen it before. She loved it. I mean, Schwarzenegger has some a very impressive collection of bad puns in that film. So, you watched Toy Soldiers tonight, okay? Step by step. Anyways, watch Hard Boiled if you can find it. Which means, now that I mentioned a movie made in Asia, someone's going to say, Kung Pao Enter the Fist is the greatest movie of all time. So what movie are we saying people thought was pro-war? Oh, Toy Soldiers? Okay. Someone was saying they thought... whoever said they finally saw RoboCop, yeah. So the idea of thinking that's propaganda is great because... I mean, yeah, why wouldn't you go into thinking that, especially nowadays when there fucking is propaganda? A lot of movies, even they don't try to be, are. But, like, back then you had some fucking hardcore dudes getting some great stuff out there. RoboCop, a lot of great points. James Cameron he wanted to make a cop the bad guy in T2 because he, doesn't like that shit, he's got some pretty radical opinions, he's interesting. So, but yeah, it was cool. But one of the last times I watched RoboCop, I was very surprised by some things that in RoboCop, which is a dystopian movie, there are things in RoboCop that are less dystopian than things in our current society now. First of all, in the movie RoboCop at one point, there's a white dude, a disgruntled government worker of some kind, I forget. A white guy has a bunch of hostages, right? And RoboCop goes in there and stops him, of course. But the news people and the cops around are all referring to this white kidnapper as a terrorist. Our country still can't fucking bring itself to call a white guy a terrorist, you know? Very rarely. Even if they like try to, even if they do extremely terrorist things like try and take over a city, you know? So there's that. There's also when he stops the girl from getting sexually assaulted, his programming is to help her find a therapist. Not just do the fucking rape kit test and then pretend you care and that you don't. You know what I mean? And then there's like another bit in that I was like, oh my God, it's less fascist than us. So, yeah. But yeah, RoboCop, wonderful movie. Just fucking wonderful. It's one of my all-time faves. And I have a Blu-ray of it that's just like some fucking $5 Best Buy Blu-ray, which is fine. But I do have the cool Arrow version with, a really nice transfer, blah, 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 special features on the way. So, I did only point out those two when I wrote that review. Okay. I'm going to go get some water. I should have had more sitting here, but whatever. Oh, boy. So what were we talking about? Misleading titles. Oh, yeah, and RoboCop. Yeah, it's a good one. I used to just, like I mentioned, I don't like the Goonies, and I'll always stand by that. Maybe someday I'll see it again and finally soften me up. I don't know. But I cry at Barbie, so I'm soft enough. I'm just saying I don't like that movie. But I used to really just not like the 80s because there was a time in the early 2000s, and, I remember the 80s a little bit. I remember the 90s very well, but the mid-2000s, not so much. Thanks, drugs and Boydus kids. But anyways, but people, there was a time, especially in the early 2000s, where it was like, the 80s. It's like, shut the fuck up. The 80s fucking ruined the world. It kind of ruined movies, but it took a while. I feel like this whole corporate product shit, even I liked the Marvel movies for a while, I'm really getting sick of them, So the whole just soulless, faceless product, you don't go to see a movie star anymore, you go to see a fucking cereal box. Which cereal box do you want to go watch? Well, just hold on. Don't start defending every 80s movie because I said that. Let me finish my point. Good God. Of course Back to the Future is good. You fucking... What are you trying to do? Straw man. Anyways, nobody said it's bad. But so, for a long time, I was generally just like, ugh, 80s. The thing is so, Star Wars came out, and then its sequels, and they were huge blockbusters, so everybody wanted to do that. And so there's a lot of very garbage big movies from the 80s. But then when you go down to those other levels, B-grade movies, whatever the fuck you want to call it, because people have to label things to make themselves feel better about liking something that is looked down upon by snobs. Who gives a shit what snobs don't like? Like horror movies. Anyways, but B movies really, had that title because of being the second movie in a doubleheader. So anyways, but the thing is the other thing that Star Wars and movies like that, the Indiana Jones did is practical effects were on a fucking tear in the 80s. Even the low budget shit you can find, stuff that was made independently, regionally, not involving any studio system, will have fucking great special effects. What's one I saw recently that was very cheap, but had some really cool monsters? I think it was, oh, God, what the fuck is that movie called? Battle for the Lost Planet and its sequel, Mutant War, okay? Great special effects. Very low budget. That happened a lot. Also the 80s where, well, actually, no, comedies had already been blockbusters for a long time, but, But so I have come to love like what 80s means for genre movies, especially horror and like science fiction and stuff, because they're just it was just because with VHS just coming in the door and everything, and cable movies, HBO TV movies starting to become more of a thing. It was lots of stuff was getting made. People were really Robot Jox was low budget, but love the FX. Fucking A, I own Robot Jox, part of a set that Arrow put out last summer of just like low budget 80s movies from Empire Pictures, which eventually became Full Moon. Or not became Full Moon, but the same guys who started Empire started Full Moon, Charles Band. Anyways, so, but yeah, Robot Jox is a great example of that. Fucking really fun effects. Anyways, and so the 80s definitely did that. But I also think that like people around my age are just like, and I suppose everybody does it. Yeah, essentially that's what Make America Great Again is about, is people that think the 50s were progressive. Anyways, but, so it's easy to look back on your past with rose-tinted glasses. But, yeah, it's, there's good things and bad things about every decade of art. I personally think the 70s really had their shit together for any kind of art. But, okay, so I'm just rambling, and I think I'm out of subjects, really, but I feel like there's something else I want to talk about. Okay. What was that movie with Ray Liotta where he's on like a prison planet trying to break out? That is called No Escape, and I believe it's right in the mid-90s. Biopics can be very good, Apocalypse Dudes. I haven't seen Man in the Moon, but I think those guys also made a Larry Flint, right? That's a good one. Not Fortress. You're talking about No Escape. But that's on an island, not a prison planet. Yeah, like Mythic just said. What do I think of spoof movies? I think of some of them quite highly. Here's another thing, is I no longer, how I said, like, I used to say, I hate musicals, don't watch musicals. Then I watched Singing in the Rain, and I was like, holy shit. So that helped me come up with kind of a new philosophy going forward, that I don't write off any genre. And now, spoof is a kind of thing that, in my mind, is different from parody. Parody is like date movie, which the shitting cat scene that all of us whitest kids love. Darren loves it the most. The shitting cat scene is its own thing. That's great. Okay, but date movie. There was those two guys, Frieder and Seiberg and Seltzer and Friedberg. I can't remember their names. Anyways, they made epic movie, date movie, Not Another Teen Movie. Aaron Freeman. Not Aaron Freeman. I can't remember their names. Anyways, but a lot of those are just fucking references. There's not jokes. They're just references. Like, they're just walking through Narnia. Oh, there's a guy with a lightsaber. Oh, there's a guy from the Da Vinci Code. So that's like a parody, where they literally just do something specific like that. Then you think there's a spoof. Then you got a spoof, which a spoof takes certain kinds of movies, certain kinds of genre, or even just expectations that you have watching a normal movie, and kind of makes fun of them and flips them on their ear. The early Abraham Zucker pictures, great example. Police Squad, which is a TV show that turned into the Naked Gun movies. I'm sure Naked Gun 33 and a third gets into the actual just parody territory, but especially the first one, that's got like Scary Movie's a parody. A spoof or a movie, yeah, okay, you got it. Okay, anyway, Scary Movie's a parody. I mean, and those movies, probably, they have original funny bits in them, like pretty much all of them do, but they generally are doing like, oh, we're going to ape specific things. Police Squad, it's like aping like, and the Naked Gun, just aping like a cop show or a cop movie. That's all it's doing, right? It's just kind of taking this genre and making their own movie out of it, but it's like insane. It's like he's doing all this stuff you'd see on the old detective show Dragnet, like offering a woman, every time he talks to a woman like who is a suspect or a witness to a crime, he offers her a cigarette. And on the show Police Squad, every time he goes, cigarette, the woman goes, yes, I know. Stuff like that. Or the bit in the movie Police Naked Gun where he's like, he and the informant are paying each other off. Great. Yeah, Walk Hard, I haven't seen, but I know what you're getting at, and I'm sure you're right about that. What's a more recent one like that about? Oh, Weird. The Weird Al story. Fucking amazing send-up of biopics. Really great. If you like biopics, you should check it out. No, Apocalypse Dudes, I would not call Scary Movie in that the era of horror movie series trying to switch over to comedy. It's just the first Scary Movie was big, and so more people made parody movies. But it wasn't horror doing comedy. Horror was coming out of a horror comedy phase. And then that was when horror was entering its like hot teenagers with visible midriffs phase, which to someone who was 18 at the time was fucking into it. But, Scream, I know you did last summer, those kind of stuff. But yeah, Daniel Radcliffe fucking destroys as Weird Al. But that's a movie where, me being a huge, big-time Weird Al fan my whole life, I would say that movie was not quite what I expected either. I don't think Mid-Hunters can show weird because I don't think it counts as mid. Yeah, but that was a fantastic movie. And I love UHF. Now, UHF has plenty of great original jokes, but yeah, they do parodies in the... See, UHF is brilliant because it sets up a framework where it's not a parody movie, but it's a movie that allows them to do parodies because they own a TV station, And so they have a lot of parodies, but they have some weird-ass original stuff. Like, I love when they're doing the end of UHF when they got the telethon going on, and they're cutting around to different character moments and whatever. Then they come back to what the telethon's doing, and it's two, like, weird-looking, like, twin guys with, I think they have baseball bats going, just doing that. That is crazy. Yes, that was Kramer in UHF, Somniferous. Michael Richards. Yep. But fucking UHF is great. Who's Bette Midler's husband? What's Scott? Anyways. Why do you know that? Pre-racist Michael Richards. Well, no, probably not. Being openly racist Michael Richards, you could say, Uncloseted, yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I was trying to look through my recent watches to see what... so the Vinegar Syndrome sold this, I bought this double header, a two film like box set thing of spaghetti westerns, but you can't really call them spaghetti westerns because they're made in Mexico. They weren't produced by Italy. But they were made around that time where other countries, besides America, had started making violent, fucked up westerns, and America tried to keep up and had some success here and there. But the two films on this Mexican western set I watched, the first one is called Hot Snake, and Hot Snake is the name of a town, and it has this like voodoo magic kind of thing happening I did not expect. Okay, Drake H96 says, do you think sex scenes in movies are lame? Fucking of course not. I'm single. I gotta jerk off to something. I don't like porn. I want a story. Anyway, I want something lit very well, But I do know, it's like, I haven't seen it personally because I try and stay away from young people, but isn't there kind of a current, I don't know, boil on the ass of humanity of kids, like millennial kids in their 20s, saying stuff like that they don't like sex scenes anymore. They think movies don't need sex scenes, which is... That's fucking bananas. And I know that now you can type titty and see titties. Congratulations. But, and I know you've heard older people say this all the time, but, back in my day, no, you want to see tits, you want to see boobs. You're 17, you're 18, you want to see boobs all the time. That's all you think about. And go ahead and make your Walt Whitman sketch references. That's fine. But so you're only thinking about boobs. And then you hear that, for example, Charlene Theron takes her shirt off in Devil's Advocate. Tickets sold. Timmy's shaped outline of dust in couch at parents' house. Now I'm at the movie theater. You know what I mean? And but even now, it's okay. It's funny because so maybe these kids don't appreciate the sex scenes in movies because you can see sex stuff and you can just look up a sex scene to a movie on Reddit. There's a page. Someone said Timmy likes the plot. The big famous movie nudity thing on Reddit is called Watching the Plot. Something like that. Watch for the plot. So I'm just kidding. I do know what it is. But no, I really did forget the name. Anyway, so I don't like porn in my ploy, but I like plot in my porn. Do you like edit in your chat? So even if you see it all the time now, why can't you fucking appreciate it? Yeah, I mean, and I was only 12 or 13 at the time, but when Madonna did that fucking Willem Dafoe movie, which I said fucking Willem Dafoe movie, also it's a movie about her fucking Willem Dafoe. But, geez, she was naked all over the place. And then she just started being naked all the time. And it was fantastic. It was great for people who like naked ladies. Yeah. She enjoyed it. She seemed to have a good time. Body of evidence. Thank you. She seemed to enjoy it. So what the hell, Cones. Lobaka just said what movie it was. Body of evidence. Anyways, or Lobaka, Dark Bastard just said what movie it was. Anyways, yeah. 90s were an amazing time to be a naked woman. Yeah, leg time, it's okay. So I don't understand why kids are now like, we don't need to have that. It's like, why not, man? If Sydney Sweeney wants to, be an actress, it seems like I haven't seen Euphoria. I know what's going on there, though. You know what I mean? If she wants to go be naked in movies, great, good for anybody that wants to see her naked, and good for herself if that's what she wants to do. And why does it suck? You know what it is? It's very puritanical to me, and I don't get it because it's like movies. Even if it's a movie about a Chewbacca, it's still a movie about they're still about humans are making it. So every movie's about humans in some way, right? And humans fuck. Sorry, Humans like boobs. Humans like wieners. It's fucking humans like flabby pink butt cheeks. Hopefully, You still want to see Chewbacca get some pussy, or at least see him celebrate Christmas with his child, who is evidence of him getting pussy, right? So, well, FT2 James Bond movies are traditionally PG-13, so that's why you haven't seen boobs in those. And I mean, there's been. I think there's a Reddit for PG-13 boobs too, something like that. But, so it does happen. Someone mentioned Titanic earlier. Doc Hollywood's another famous one. I know there's a few, but the thing is like, we're living in a time where people have really started standing up and talking more openly about sexual assault and things like that, and sexual harassment and molestation, things like that. Great. We need to fucking out creeps, get them out of here, get them, shut them down, protect people, get them out of our face, absolutely. But also, I think we should be careful that we don't, along with that, get rid of healthy horniness. You know what I mean? Like, I can go work around women all the time or be friends with them or whatever and not fucking be a creep. But I can still love, watching a sex scene in a movie if I think they're hot, or whatever. Like, you can still be a hornball, be a good, like, you got to be horny. Someone's got to, so we can keep trying this whole humanity thing. But, it's, I think it's, I think horniness is the way out of it. You know what I mean? It's like, just fucking be cool about it. Consensual sexual activity is a highlight of the human experience, says Drake H. Yeah. Yeah. Well, sometimes you accidentally look at cleavage. Sure. You know what I mean? as a single guy in the Midwest, where, as I say on stage when I start, welcome to South Dakota, where all the women are beautiful and married. So as a single guy living in a place like this, which means women get married when they're 22 and like have 7 children right away. Or at least that's what my mom did. But a lot of people do. Anyway, so the point is, there's a lot of good-looking ladies that are married. And so I've gotten very good at like not even like moving my eyes or even moving my head anymore, but just like kind of like noticing in the peripheral if there's a ring on the finger. You know what I mean? So, the German guy is Bette Midler's husband. Okay. Dr. Godana says, I'm cool, I like porn, I like plot, I just don't like unexpected boobs out of nowhere. Well, you're alone in that one. Like I'm watching TV with my parents, that's weird. You know what? I can trump all of that, and I think I've told this story a few times now, but in 2021, 2020, around Christmas time, I was kind of just starting to kind of get into this thing with this girl long distance, and one of the first things we bonded on was watching Eyes Wide Shut around Christmas time, because it takes place around Christmas. And I hadn't watched Eyes Wide Shut in years. So I'm watching it, and I'm texting this girl, because it was a long distance thing, and I say, I think it was while we were watching it right afterwards, I'm like, I just remembered something very strange. And she was like, what? I'm like, I saw Eyes Wide Shut in the theater with my mom. And my mom's friend Martha. What did you say? So I think if a titty shows up in Titanic when you're with your parents, big fucking deal. Take your mom to a movie in which the first frame is Nicole Kidman's ass, and you're supposed to pretend like you're not like extremely into that. No, she didn't want to talk about it. I don't think... because I was like just getting into being a movie nerd. That's like Stanley Kubrick. This guy's a genius. Let's go watch it. Also, even though he's in a questionable religion, I just fucking love Tommy Cruise. I can't say no. So I see any action-y thing he does, I go see it. And but obviously I knew Eyes Wide Shut wasn't going to be an action movie. Although it'd be crazy if they had like a 2-handed gunfight in that mansion full of naked people wearing masks, right? Well, I was 18, somniferous. We were visiting a college at the time, but yeah. But still, that was weird. And, but the thing is like my mom and I are, even back then and now, we're good friends. And me and my dad too, like we just have an understanding of each other. And so we've always been pretty openly about being human. So I don't think she cared that I took them to see a movie with a lot of naked women in it. Because the thing is, it's a good movie too, which to me, if a movie has a lot of naked women in it, then it's a good movie. No, this really is, but it's like, I'm the oldest of 6, so I helped take care of several of the babies that my parents made. And they know that I know how babies are made. So, it's fine. FT Dude says, agreed. Hate Tom's religion and what he's done to spread it. But I'll be damned if he doesn't make a good picture and supposedly really cares about safety on set. Hallelujah. He also cares about the movie-going experience. He and Chris McQuarrie, the guy he's been doing a lot of films with the last 10, 15 years, he and Chris McQuarrie made a little video about how to turn off motion smoothing on your parents' TV. Like when you go visit them for Thanksgiving or whatever. But yeah, good stuff. What am I talking about? Chaotic good. Yeah, that's a good way to see it. And the fucking Mission Impossible movies are good, man. Lobach says, I'm apparently to blame for my dad finding and watching Sorority Babes and the Slimeball Bolorama. I've always wanted to see that, you know? Edge of Tomorrow's great, yeah. The Creator on Disney Plus. It's a little sad, but very well done. It shows the evilness of people. That new sci-fi movie's on Disney Plus? I really want to see it. I didn't know it's on Disney. That's cool. It came out in the theater like in fall or something, right? Anyways, I'm probably going to wrap it up soon, but I don't know if this is good or not. I'm going to probably next time I stream do something else just to see if this idea actually works in my mind. Anyone see Ex Machina? Yes. What's a film you genuinely love despite all the bad reviews and despite very few of your friends liking? I don't go out of the way to find out what other people think of things, but I don't know, probably a lot. But you know, I have friends that like don't. I have a lot of friends and people that all like different things, so it's like, okay, if this guy doesn't like Jason movies, well, I know I can talk to this guy about Jason movies because this guy fucking Jason's, you know? So I don't really know because I feel like, you know, you talk about movies with enough people, and you guys have seen Self-Suck Saturdays. We talk about movies a lot, and that's how we all always been, us as friends, and a lot of people in comedy and TV and movies because it's what we're doing, you know? So we're interested in that, and, you know, I tend not to look at movie reviews because a lot of time you can tell they're really biased. Okay, you would say biased. Bias is the thing that a biased person is or has. But they aren't that. Anyways, I probably don't like fun. I'm kidding, but still. But no, you're right, though. The best reviews are actually, like, anytime someone is really obsessed with saying it's good or bad or a numerical value to a movie, fucking... Okay, the best film writing to me isn't really, it's less of a review and more just kind of, I mean, you could just call kind of a piece of criticism maybe, or you would just call writing on it. I don't know. I love Outlaw Vern. He does review movies, but he never says they're good or bad. He's like, I like this stuff, I didn't like this kind of thing. But if he really likes a movie, then he's like, this movie did pretty much everything perfect for me. And I think that's great. You're talking about the movie from a personal level, like this did not work for me. This did work for me. And about like why you love it or why it didn't do it for you, and not acting like it's the worst offense known to mankind if you don't like a movie, you know what I mean? There's no reason to go call it bad or whatever. You just kind of talk about, I like this, I didn't like this. That's truly criticism. That's what that is. That's what that means. It's not like, this sucks, let's have a Raspberry Award. Fuck Razzies. Fuck that. You know what I mean? Annihilation. Yeah, that movie's great. I've only seen it once. I like that it doesn't make sense. I mean, it does, you know. Can you talk about what you liked about Wonka? I went in with low expectations and was still disappointed. Yeah, I thought it was funny. I liked the kind of set pieces and stuff. I liked the songs. I think you're way off base on that. I thought they used the what's that song from the original? Do 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 pure imagination. That song. I think they used it very well. Oh, Lavaca, great. I think Tarantino also raises a good point that a good critic can also call attention to performers and creators that deserve attention and can likely do more with more backing resources. Fucking beautiful. Beautifully said by you and Tarantino. That guy Laverne that writes reviews I was just talking about. There's many things I love that I never would have knew I loved if he wasn't talking about them. Scott Adkins movies. I love a lot of Scott Adkins action movies. Probably, The Night Comes for Us, which is a great Indonesian movie. Stuff like that. Vernicious Knids would be in the second movie anyway, Somniferous. Come on, get with the fucking program. But actually, in this case, probably the third movie, because they were kind of setting up the story of the first Willy Wonka book. But thanks for playing. But... God damn it. You guys get it. Whatever the fuck I was talking about. Can you watch my brain just kind of slowly dying over time as I sit here? Yeah, criticism. Yes. So yeah, I think that's right. It's talking like you're talking about the movie. I think a lot of things that I say this all the time. The internet started out good, and then when it became about everyone just realizing that the best thing for the internet is to put your opinion everywhere, that's when the internet started sucking ass. Suddenly our opinions became these wholly untouchable fucking perfect things that we can't, that are always the most important. Ugh, fuck that. So I think when, along with that, movie reviews evolved into, here's me talking about the movie, evolved from that into, here's me talking about my opinion of the movie. It's like, I don't want to know about that. I mean, every person's different, so I don't read a review being like, well, they're right, I wouldn't like this. How the fuck would they know that? How the fuck could I be able to glean that from a movie? But if I hear you talking about what's going on in a movie, that helps me know, okay, maybe I would like this, maybe I would not, So if you're talking about a movie and say this movie has some really great, clearly shot, well choreographed fight scenes, bingo, I'm there, right? Also, there are boobs, bingo, I'm there twice, that kind of thing. If you're talking about like, in the cinematography in this movie does this or that, that sounds like something I like, you know what I mean? But like, this movie's bad, okay, all right, I'm gonna go see it anyways, because I don't know what you saying it's bad means to anyone else except yourself. Timmy, is the VOD going to be available for the last stream you did? I wound up missing most of it. I don't know. He's behind on that because he's got other stuff going on. But I'm sure he'll get back to it eventually, and we'll find out. Have I seen The Lighthouse? Yes. What do you mean you don't like me beans? Love it. Okay, how many people are going to ask about The Curse? Because I haven't seen it, and I know that it's just finished. And I know Nathan Fielder's a genius, but I've never gotten around to watching like any of his stuff. I really want to sit down and just do it sometime. Did I like The Lighthouse? Yes. You don't like my beans? What's up, Timmy? My hamster I named after you died. Fuck! Hi, Professor Marth. Been a long time. I'm sorry. Oh, Baked Beans was the name of the hamster? Do stand-up specials count as movies? What do you mean? I mean, yeah. I think it's a weird question because, it's a movie, right? It's like a concert film, Hamothy Williams. Well, I'm sorry about that. How long? You like bring it up as a point of discussion? I don't even know if I feel like they're movies. I did not see the new Chappelle. I didn't see any of the new Dave Chappelle. It's gonna take some doing to get me to watch a stand-up who's older and talks about how like, do you remember the kids? So Max Adenaka says, I still have PTSD from the Crow 4 that we watched with Nate. He talks about that all the time. He fucking loved that. I mean, there's a great point. I don't know if he liked the movie or not, but clearly, I feel bad for missing that experience because it was clearly a great experience to watch it. Filled with garbage just rent free in his head. Yeah, that movie's in Nate's head 100% of the time. And that's great, so he must have had a fantastic time with it on some level. You know what I mean? Wicked Prayer. Yeah, they're talking about Wicked Prayer. Apocalypse Dudes. Well, I never finished recommending a movie to you. Oh, are you and your friend going to watch Hard Boiled? Watch Hard Boiled. Last movie I liked was The Killer. I was worried it'd be a remake of the original The Killer, but it's its own thing. You mean the David Fincher movie? It has nothing to do with the John Woo movie. It's actually an adaptation of a French comic book. Well, ask your friend. Oh, wait a minute, Apocalypse Dudes. Get all the adults in here. Let's talk about this. When you say you're having a friend over to watch a movie, now I don't know your gender. You're saying your friend is a she. Are you hoping you enter the movie as friends, exit it sticky? You know what I mean? Is that what we're talking about? It's not a date. All right. Oh, now he says no in all caps. Okay, I'm sorry. Hey, enter the friend as movies. Squirrel says the best date movie is the Japanese film Hausu. Yeah, crazy. Yeah, I kind of am leaning with Dr. Quintana. That it's a date. Maybe it's a date. Anyways, okay. I haven't been on a lot of movie dates. I haven't been on a lot of any dates. However, the couple movie dates I've been on were always with girls that were out of my league. So I'd be like, well, this really shouldn't be happening anyways. How did I break reality enough to date someone this much hotter than me? But anyways, so I'd be like, well, let's just fucking watch whatever. So the first time I ever took a date to a movie, we saw Ong Bak. Fucking amazing movie. Ong Bak has stayed in my life for a lot longer, by the way. I think that girl ended up becoming some, like, not on a big level, but like a right-wing pundit kind of person. Something like that. But then we also saw Kung Fu Hustle. So she must have thought I was completely broken. Last movie date I saw that Candyman remake. That was pretty good. I liked it. Or reboot. That's what I was talking about last week. I got too far into the weeds on that remake thing. I know that some remakes can be good. But I do like how they're kind of making them their own thing by making them a sequel. Because when you make it, when you say that it's a continuing part of the story rather than a remake of an original story, well, now you've freed yourself. You're not beholden to making this or that happen to reference the first movie. You can keep going forward. The chicken scene in Pink Flamingos. I've seen Pink Flamingos. Oh, you're saying for a date movie. Yeah, there we go. But anyways, yeah, I forget what I was talking about. But, oh man, I think when I was married, obviously we saw several movies together. But I think the last one was Immortals, which I think was Henry Cavill, right? And it was like a Greek mythology kind of movie, something like that. Apocalypse Dude says, I don't think I could do a movie date because I'd be too irritated that they're trying to interrupt my viewing experience. Well, here's the deal, man. I've not been in very many relationships, okay? But the first big one I was in, yes, we could watch a movie without fucking talking, okay? Everything else sucked, though, so that's why I had to end. Then the next long relationship I was in, bigger thing, whatever, nothing was actually very long. But that person was 7, 8 years younger than me, something like that, and which is over that line where now, like, there's an age thing. It's like, now you get this much older, it's like, okay, so now it's acceptable to have your phone out all the fucking time. And so they're like, especially if we're watching a movie, well, no, we're not really watching a movie. You're on your phone. We're doing two separate things. You just happen to be on the same couch as me and happen to accidentally blow me for a little bit there, but now we unpaused and you're still on your phone. Anyways, so that sucked. It's like, well, you're not really here, especially if it's something that I like and I'm like excited to show it to you and you're on your phone. The last relationship I was in, we were simpatico with how that works. Now, I did say we were texting each other because we were long distance, right, in movies, but I feel like that's different. We're watching the movie together. We're talking about the movie. We're still paying attention. Even if we got too caught up talking or texting or whatever, we would rewind the movie, you know what I mean? But we were movie first, which I think it's actually a good way to bond if you're on a movie date. It's like, we're here to watch this movie, but we like each other enough that we feel like just sitting here watching this silently together is going to create something special, right? That's good, Maybe a little accidental hand holding, right? Anyways, or the grabbing a knee, I don't know, you know what I mean. Anyways, and that didn't work out for other reasons. But movie watching, we're great at that, So I think that's what you gotta find, What are we talking about? I think the last hour of what is all primer? I'm missing some good talk, probably. I can get behind movie first. Well, yeah, that's what I think. So Apocalypse Dudes, if you love, well, you're only 18 and do not fucking listen to me for relationship advice. But you know what? Maybe I know what I'm talking about because I've ruined so many myself. So, I can just write down everything I've done and just be like, do opposite of this list. But yeah, if the person you start seeing or whatever likes, or the person you're going to try and hook up with tonight and are claiming you aren't. If they if they also like movies, well then yeah, I think it's it's a thing, like if you both like a movie, would like to watch movies, you sit down and watch one together, but you actually watch it. Yeah, it can be good, I mean, my daughter and I watch movies all the time, and that is a father-daughter bonding experience, and we don't really talk very much. We watch the fucking movie, we watched The Matrix the other night. Now, we've both seen it before, so we talk during that a little bit more, but it can be a good bonding experience. And that's why I suggest Hard Boiled, because recently I've shown Hard Boiled to people for their first time a few times. It's always fun. Because that movie is, as my brother, who's not quite 30 yet, he said, this is just mayhem, so. Dead Camper, that's what I'm saying. Dead Camper says in quotes, I've ruined all my relationships, but so help me God, nothing can stop me from giving advice. And I didn't ruin my relationships. Did I make some mistakes here and there? Yes. But so did they, and I can't be blamed for wanting to get out of two of those, and the third one is a mutual thing. This isn't happening, so... Yeah, or, it's basically mutual. I don't know. I mean, people always, if someone says that means they got dumped. So, yes, I did. But it was also like at the point where it's like, well, this is fucking not working anyways, so. But yeah, you can talk about movies if it seems like the people there are okay with it. Don't fucking do it in the theater. You know what I mean? So. Fun facts during a movie, you know what? Yeah, that can be fun. And listen, my ADHD is getting worse with age, so when I watch movies, sometimes it takes me fucking 5 hours to watch an 80-minute film. I will pause it to remember that I wanted to go put a bowl away back in the cupboard. You know what I mean? Just weird shit. That's what that is. It's like you just can't. You can't. That's it. And then you just, you can't do this. And then you are like, you're I'm going to do this. Oh, but I need to do this. Oh, but I need to do this. Oh, and it never stops. But, when you can kind of quiet all the shit and just sit and watch is great, so when people are like, how come you haven't watched this show? I'm like, dude, to me, now a movie by itself is longer, yes. But a show is longer. Drake says the most powerful relationship move is to always leave first. Well, I'm 1 for 2 on that. 1 for 3. 1 and 2. 1 I did, 2 I didn't. Yeah, whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I think I like the idea of a movie better where it's like, I want to watch this for 2 hours, and then it's a complete experience. And there's a lot of great TV out there, and I think I just feel overwhelmed by it, which makes me not want to do something. I have a problem dealing with hype when someone's like, you will love this. I'm like, cool. Stop telling me to like it. And then it takes me forever. Bring back intermissions. That'd be cool. The Blu-rays I have of both, 2001 has that. I believe Seven Samurai does. It's got to. And then Monty Python and the Holy Grail does, but as like a joke, I think. But hold on. That was a fart loud enough to make me have to mute the microphone. Yeah, I should finish moving into this room sometime, huh? Anyways, Godfather. Does Godfather the first one? Or 2 probably does. I think 2 is the Godfather 1 is not very long. Godfather 2 is super long. But I mean, you didn't even have to be a long movie to have an intermission back in the day. But I don't think the first one, yeah, well, okay. No, the first one is 3 hours long. Okay, I thought it was shorter. Anyway, so yeah, I'm sure they have an intermission on that. Yeah, The Godfather 2 is very long. There's a cut you can watch that's like, but Wonka, they're both long, so maybe they do both have intermissions. But I think 2 is even longer than 3 hours. But anyways, there's that, what's it called? The Godfather Saga cut or something where they have it in chronological order, which means it's the prequel scenes from Godfather 2, starring Robert De Niro as a young Vito Corleone. And then it's The Godfather, the first movie, And then it's the rest of Godfather 2, the contemporary part of it. Pretty interesting. I've never seen it that way, but there is a cut that way. I mean, what they did is they aired that on TV as like a mini series, I believe. Dr. Zhivago had an intermission, yeah. Hateful Eight, yeah, that had one. That's cool. Yeah, Godfather 3 is not great, but it's better than you've heard, I would say. And there was the first time I watched it, like 2 days later, Francis Ford Coppola put out what he calls the Coda cut of Godfather 3, where he calls it Godfather Coda instead of Godfather 3, because he meant it as to be like the ending to his little duology of 1 and 2, not necessarily the third part of a trilogy. Kind of mincing words there, but I mean, that's kind of, his idea for it, and it makes more sense that way, and I guess it was a different cut, so. Have I ever seen the original cut of Once Upon a Time in America? No, I haven't. I started watching that movie once, and the phone that rang for like 15 minutes in that movie, like in the movie, there's a scene with that, and I just couldn't do it at the time, so. Patson, I think that's what we're talking about. A really long movie of Godfather 1 and 2. That's what I'm talking about, only they take the prequel shit from the second movie and put it in the beginning. But I do like Once Upon a Time in the West a lot. I love Sergio Leone's Westerns, but, Once Upon a Time in the West, the sexual politics, watching it now is a little like, the woman character in that is treated pretty horribly by the filmmakers and the other characters, and, But when you view it through some eyes or some angles, it's kind of like, okay, she is kind of using her sex as a weapon the way the men use their guns, so that's kind of... Did you watch any movies in the theater with your baby when she was a baby? Great question, because you shouldn't, right? Generally, if you live in a small town and you're a lifelong Muppets fan, for example, let's just say there's a guy like that, and then a new Muppet movie, the first new Muppet movie in a long, long time, comes out when your baby's like 3 months old. And you live in a small town, and that movie's already been out for a week, so no one's going to be there. Take your baby, especially if you know your baby's good at being quiet, which, let's say mine was. We went to that, and she was very little in a car seat, and sat her in one of the seats, and it was me and her mom and my parents, I think, was who went. And it was fine. She's still a good movie watcher, And I think she was only 3 or 4 months old, so, but not a fucking peep. When she was about 2.5, we went to the Lego movie, and she sat on my lap, watched the movie, fucking loved it. Totally quiet. And I live in the Midwest where, anytime there's a big movie, there's someone who's never been in a fucking movie theater before. Because they're too busy putting mega flags on their camper that doesn't work. But, so they got their fucking phone out. They're talking about fuck them. Fucking suckers. But my daughter's a good moviegoer. And, well, this was in something different. So when I took her, it was in a little theater. It wasn't that loud. And it was the Muppets. That sounded a big, loud movie. But anyways, maybe there's an explosion. Anyways. But so I took her to the Lego movie. She's 2.5, sits on my lap, watches the movie, has a great time. She's not talking and stuff. Right in the middle, she says, like, full room volume. She's 2.5. She didn't really get it. She just knew to be good, right? But right in the middle of the movie, she turns around and goes, "Hey, when are we going to Grandma's house?" And I was like, "We're going to go to Grandma's house after the movie. But everybody else here's trying to watch it too, so you got to wait to talk until later." And she's like, "Oh, okay." And she was done, And I think talking to her movies is more permitted at her mother's house, and it started leaking her behavior. But I mean, I do a thing where you could say that possibly I'm mansplaining movies to her sometimes. But I ask her, "Does it bother you when I tell you random facts about movies?" She's like, "No, it's cool." So I'm like, okay. Like when we're watching The Matrix, for example. Hey, that guy's also Elrond in The Lord of the Rings. Oh, yeah, cool, So, yeah. Yeah, she got it when I told her to stop. She's a really smart kid. And, it's Well, just like I was talking, like, if you're dating somebody or kind of wanting to start dating somebody and you both actually watch a movie together, you don't talk a bunch. If at all, I'll probably talk a little bit. I know everyone's going to, but like, like you can talk if you want to say, like, please touch my butt, right? But anyways, you're not really talking and you're just watching it. There is a bonding experience that happens, like I said, right? Now, that is why people still like to go see movies in the theater, because it's like, we're all there. We're all here for this same reason, A Quiet Place is kind of a gimmick. I've only seen it the one time, but it happened to come out when there was a huge blizzard here. And anyone who's been in a big snowstorm knows that right after, or kind of as the snowstorm's tapering off, or right after the snowstorm, and there's a lot of snow on the ground, it's just extra quiet fucking everywhere. And, of course, not everybody's going to go out. So me and a couple friends went and saw A Quiet Place at the tail end of a blizzard. And so it made it extra quiet. And there was only like 3 other people in the theater. They're around our age. I think we knew them, like maybe friends of ours. So everybody was on the same page about don't fucking talk, One lady was being too loud with the popcorn, maybe, but it's okay. Jim is annoying to me. Well, the fact he was Jim on Office Space is actually, or The Office is not mentioned in the first Quiet Place. I haven't seen the second one. That sounds like a vibe. It was a vibe. That's what I'm saying. And I know it's a thing to say now, but it literally was a vibe. That was a good vibe. Anyways, sorry I mentioned A Quiet Place. People are talking about how much they don't like it. Okay, whatever. I'm going to go, Bob Jr. says, I saw Detective Pikachu in a theater and everyone there was so excited and it made it a great experience. Yeah, and that can do it for a movie, and then later you see the movie, you're like, well, I didn't like it as much as the first time, but okay, cool. Trevor and I saw Attack of the Clones at a 6 a.m. screening, and we stayed up until it happened. And we came out of there thinking it was fantastic. We were in Times Square, so we walked out of the movie theater at 9 a.m. People are fucking going to work. It's Times Square. It's one of, at that time, 9 a.m. on a weekday, Times Square is probably if at least one of the busiest places on Earth. And we walk out seeing fucking Attack of the Clones into that, and we're just like, whoa. Levaka says, I probably should feel bad for this, but when I saw Battle Royale in the theater, I had clapped when someone died and they projected their face name at the end. The whole theater cheered each time. But yeah, so that can really change it. And I remember having a good reaction to the Pikachu movie too. It was fun. When I saw the first It, the remake, It, whatever, 2018, I might have told this story last week, but it's a funny story. It's definitely about this. It's a packed theater. I went with my friend Maddie, but we didn't get tickets ahead of time. And so, because we're oldies, and we weren't used to how our new theater lets you select seats yet, so we just showed up. He had to sit way over there. I sat over here. I sat next to a young couple. There's a girl next to me with her boyfriend, and we're watching It. There's some scary parts, and at one point, the girl next to me sitting over here goes, ah! And like grabs my leg. Oh my God! I'm like, I didn't do anything, honestly. I was just like very confused. She goes, oh my God, I'm sorry. And I just laughed like, it's okay. You're scared. It's okay. But then I asked her to dump him for me, and she wouldn't do it. What a fucking jerk. So here's the other thing. There's some people talking about how seeing those Star Wars prequels in the theater was awesome. I agree, because they're definitely big spectacles, Now, I would guess, I'm 42, so I know there's people in here that are quite a bit younger than me. So I feel like that you guys, like I have a brother who's like 30, right? Not quite 30. And he, it's like pretty much almost a different generation for me, right? And I feel like those folks are like pretty much down with the prequels. filled with garbage. I saw episode 3 at a 3 a.m. show. So I saw Phantom Menace at midnight. I was a huge Star Wars fan. So I saw Phantom Menace at midnight. I saw Attack of the Clones at 6 a.m. I saw last one, was it Revenge of the Sith at 3 a.m. And that was me and Sam and this old dude I worked with, Don Panibianco, a fucking great guy. He didn't know anything about Star Wars. I don't know if he had seen any other Star Wars movies before he saw Revenge of the Sith. He just wanted to go to the movie at 3 a.m. because he thought it was a wild idea and he wanted to see like what the kids were into. Kids meaning people under like 50, you know? And he saw it with us at the Ziegfeld, which was a classic, huge, old school movie theater that's just like the biggest fucking white sheet you've ever seen in your life with the project, you know, that they project onto. So it was fun. It's fun to see that stuff. Man, I feel like I just babbled for a long time, but I do need to stop because I talk for a living and I have to do. I'm headlining I'm doing a headlining stand-up show this weekend, closing out the comedy festival I helped found and create 8 years ago is having its final fest starting tomorrow. And since I'm the person that thought of this festival, I am going to be the last person that performs on it this Sunday night. So I talk for my other job, but I also need to save my voice for that. Why is it the final? You run a comedy festival and then get back to me. I bowed out actually about halfway through. I bowed out in 2020, January 2020, right before COVID hit. But the thing is we did for charity, and it's also very hard in South Dakota. That's in Sioux Falls, where a lot more people live, and has a little bit more of a happening local art scene and pop culture kind of stuff. But it's still hard to get people to come out to things, you know, especially when the festival's in January in South Dakota, because my dumbass was like, wouldn't that be funny if we had a comedy festival where we made people from LA and stuff like that come to South Dakota in January. Then my friend, and I've never been good at the producing side of things for shows, right? I don't know how to do that. I'll go perform. So then my friends who are good at that stuff, putting things together, called me back and they said, hey, we got sponsors for that. I'm like, but, and yeah, it was, so it really happened. And the first Snow Jam was beautiful in Sioux Falls. It was like 40. Have a guy call Rob Schneider and see if he'll do it. Okay, if you are starting a comedy festival in Mythic, you definitely want to get it put together more than 3 days before, or the night before it starts. You know. What time is SSS? Is it still happening? Well, you never catch it because we don't do it very much anymore. Mrs. Lippman said the top weather sucks Thursday through Saturday there. Does it this year? I don't know. I didn't even look. But the weather has kind of sucked here anyways. Lately it's been cold and now we're supposed to be getting snow tonight, which, whatever, fucking... I didn't even look at the Sioux Falls weather for when I'm going. Oh, it looks fine. Just going to be cold, some patchy. If you looked at the weather and think that looks bad, welcome to motherfucking South Dakota. Because I looked at that, I'm like, that's fine. It's cold as balls. There's going to be some blowing snow. Sounds like South Dakota to me, baby. You know? Yeah, Principal Roll's a good point. I feel like the weather sucks everywhere right now. Yeah, it does. Anyways, I'm going to go. I liked this. I hope people enjoyed it. And fuck you. No, don't end it that way. I love you guys. Yeah, that's what it should be. It's the high 50s where I am. You people are all in the wrong spots. Also, stay where you are. We're full here. I thought there was an extra SS push because that was a last minute fundraising thing. Yeah, we did it. I'm going to raid somebody, though. So you guys can hold on if you want to. I'll find somebody to raid. I'll have a gummy. Okay. I never know how to do this. Who should I raid? Okay, we're gonna go with Professor Marth. Quest_ing. That looks cool. All right, be nice, everybody. Love you. Have a good summer, okay? Oh, she just ended? Shit. Okay, we won't do that one. Okay. Let's do... Is Nate on? Probably, right? No, he's not. Okay. Forced wires. Yep. I always like that idea. All right, good night, everybody. Tell Forrest said what up. Okay. Bye. Thanks, everybody. You're the best.